Shad has been roasting me on not knowing pop culture things, apparently. He's like, everyone knows this. I'm like, I don't. Sounds, memes.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. I'm like, I know a lot of memes, but I don't know what the heck you're talking about here. Like,
Well,
obviously it's not that common.
Your For You page is going to be a heck of a lot different than his For You page.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. At least when you don't know something, they can't just be like, oh, it's because you're homeschooled. Hello.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back
to another episode of Sometimes Ciabatta Slaps. I'm Mac.
I'm Jubes.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
It is, Tuesday on Halloween.
I know. How fortuitous for us that's how that worked.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which means we have a 5th week this month that mean to record, but it's Halloween, so it's fun.
Yeah, we're making it just a fun, spooky episode, but not really spooky.
Yeah. About a month ago, I guess, especially when this released, when Bryce said to you that you don't even care about Halloween, and you're like, yeah, I agree. And I'm like, we've put so much emphasis on Halloween though for SCS. I was like, what the heck?
Well, I enjoy doing like the fun photo shoots and like the history of Halloween, and I enjoy like dressing up for Halloween parties.
Yeah,
but I put zero forethought into it.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's not like on Halloween I'm like, oh my goodness, next year I'm gonna be XYZ. And then I will not remember that. And then I'll be panicking the week before Halloween being oh, what should I be?
That's what I mean. But I was like, that's what it took me back because it was around the time we did our ghost photo shoot, which you guys would see on our Instagram. It's a go on. That was fun.
That one was super fun.
But I was like, you were the one who like initiated that. And so I was like, what do you mean you don't care for Halloween? We do all these Halloween things.
Well, I enjoy doing those things, but like I don't live and die Halloween.
Okay, that's fair.
You know?
I don't care to like decorate I probably will decorate my house eventually.
For Halloween?
But also, like a little bit.
Yeah.
But nothing insane. And especially because my dream house will be on an acreage somewhere.
Yeah.
And hopefully I won't have people knocking on my door.
Yeah. Well, like I've always enjoyed like dressing up and stuff for Halloween, but it kind of ruined living in Alberta when you have to put an entire snowsuit on underneath your Halloween costume, so you can't actually be what you want to be.
Yeah. No,
because you have to plan around like, do winter boots look good with this dress?
Yeah.
Like you can't be a fairy with
Yeah.
I don't know. We're finally gonna get trick-or-treaters this year.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
In an apartment, so
I'm so excited. I'm a little bit nervous because I've never handed out candy before because we've usually lived like on a farm, so we don't usually get trick-or-treaters.
Yeah.
So
over the years, my mom has gone from like just giving out like a handful of like little candies to be in the house with the big chocolate bar because she knows that everything's gonna be gone. Yeah, and she just says, "Say pick one." Yeah,
yeah, that's what Graylin wants to do. Him and the boys who live with him, they're like, "We're gonna be the king size candy bar house," but they'd have to be home when trick or treaters happening, and they'd have to buy those candy bars.
yeah.
So.
But no, if anything, I'd probably be like my mom in that sense, where it's like, or they get like a bottle of soda or something, a can of soda.
Right now, food is so expensive that the idea of buying candy just to give out for free, it sent me into a little bit of a spiral.
Yeah,
because I was like, it just felt expensive, and I was like, no, I don't wish to do this. But I don't know. I think it'll be fun. Like the most decorations I'll have for our front door is just like the pumpkins we're carving.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
that's fair.
Oh well.
As we know, I graduated and whatnot, and I'm on the job hunt now. I have an interview tomorrow, so
yay!
At the time we're recording this, I have an interview tomorrow, so hopefully.
Way to bury the lead. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see. Hopefully it goes good. I mean, so the first bite that I've got.
Nice.
Since sending out a plethora of applications. I'm still waiting to get my like diploma and RHN number and all this kind of things like that in my graduation package.
Right.
Once I have that number, I can apply to even different jobs too. If this one doesn't work out or if this one doesn't seem like the type of thing I want to do. And that'll also give me access to the alumni job board. And so,
oh, nice.
Hoping very shortly here that I will be working in something that I want to do.
That would be sick. Like actually getting your career started.
Yeah, at the very least, right?
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
And so this one that I'm interviewing for tomorrow is kind of more of a sales side of things. But I see it as good experience because if I end up doing my own practice, like I probably will at some point in my future.
Yeah.
To have the sales experience, to know what I need to do to make it like a business.
Exactly.
Would be good for me.
Yeah, I feel like that experience will help you in basically every single aspect of your life.
Yeah.
Because it didn't Vic say like it's so like sales experience is like so invaluable because you just like you use it for everything. Yeah,
whether it was on the episode or just in person. But I think but yeah, very much so, because that's what it just if you're able to sell yourself and market yourself, like even on that rant I had, what was it, spring or something? Adulthood is whatever you market yourself to be.
Yeah, literally.
Right. And if that's like, if you can learn that lesson, like the sooner you can learn that, the better you will be in almost anything you do in life. Yeah.
That rant feels like in another lifetime ago. So much has happened since then.
Oh, I know. And it
like, that's crazy.
And it shocked me how much traction that rant got, but it's because so many people are so lost in what they're doing. And that's why I'm like, the sooner you can realize life is whatever you market yourself to be.
Yeah.
You'll be happier quicker.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
that's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's why I've started saying I work from home.
Yeah.
I'm self-employed.
Yeah.
Which I need to say self-employed instead of work from home because then people think that I podcast for a business and then I have to lie about the business.
Oh, it was so funny on the plane.
So funny. When I was in an Uber after flying into Vancouver, and Buddy was like, I was feeling really chatty.
Yeah.
So I was making conversation with my Uber driver, and turns out we both worked for a company. Like, he worked for the same financial company that I worked for a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
So we talked about that, and he's like, oh, like, you have a podcast. I was like, yeah, like, I work from home now, so it's pretty easy. And then he was like, oh, I said something about sometimes I need to take a nap during the day because I just get tired. And he's like, oh, like, do your bosses know that you take a nap during the day? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, they must be like, do they care? And I was like, no.
As long as the work gets done.
I was like, my bosses are pretty lenient. Like, as long as the episode comes out on time, they don't really care. Which isn't a lie.
Because if you're talking about your boss as yourself or your boss as me, because both are true.
I was talking to bosses myself. Like, I know, like, and you, like, I was like, as long as the episode comes out, they don't really care when it gets done.
Yeah.
It was very, very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was shocked. Yeah.
So there's that. And then, also because I can't sit still very well. And now that I've had a week or so of sitting still, just applying. Just applying to jobs for me is sitting still. And we of course we have podcast stuff that I do and yada yada yada. But now that I'm not doing school and podcast and work and working out, I'm like twiddling my thumbs. I'm like, I need to fill my time. So I'm looking into Google certificates to do a digital marketing certificate.
Oh, nice.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's only like 40 hours long. And you can do it within the free week trial. So it's just a free certificate.
Oh, sick.
Essentially. So I'm like, I might do that.
Yeah.
Maybe next week if this job doesn't, I don't know, follow through the way I want to do. So I can fill my time doing something. And I'm looking into what it would take to start up an Etsy shop because I love
Doesn't take much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love thrifting and I really want to start thrifting really pretty vessels and then making candles out of those pretty vessels.
What do you mean?
Like I buy a really cool crystal bowl and I fill it with candle wax and I sell it as a vintage
Okay, I understand.
Thing.
I didn't know what you meant by vessel. I was like, are you melting? Like, are you just buying a box of Crayola and melting it into a candle? Or like what? Okay, that makes way more sense.
To hold the candle in. It's not going to be like a traditional like shaped candle.
Right.
It's going to be whatever thrifted piece that I can find and then I can pour it into and Yeah. Playing around with that and a few candle molds because I feel like that's going to be easy enough and something to keep my hands busy.
Yeah, no doubt.
I can thrift with a purpose.
Yeah, that's cool.
Playing around with that idea right now amongst everything else I want to do in my life, but
fair enough.
Yeah, more so just trying to break down the cost of that to see if it's even worth for me to start up right now. Because part of me is like, yeah, start up now, so it's like Christmas time. But then I'm like, once I start working, am I going to want to maintain this right now?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So.
Yeah, and the whole, like, what you have to pay for overhead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to budget it out to see, like, can I bite that bullet right now or do I just hold up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I'm going to Pilates today, so I'm very excited for that.
Did you find a reformer Pilates or just regular? Nice.
Yeah.
With where?
Club Pilates.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And so I'm going to go, I'm doing their intro class today.
Nice.
To see if I like it.
Yeah.
And if it's something I want to do regularly, that will be my new F45.
Yeah.
I'll be my expensive workout place, and then my boyfriend and I are going to get a gym membership.
Nice.
Which is going to be, it'd be one of those, like, I don't know, $40 a month kind of things.
Yeah.
Right? And we just go together, lift weights and whatnot from there.
Yeah.
But I really want to do Pilates, and so that can be my early morning workout.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's what I like to do.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. How about you, Jubes?
When I was in Vancouver visiting Sydney, we started watching horror movies again.
Oh, fun.
So it was very healing, because I realized they're not as scary as they used to be, because I've watched much, much, much scarier TV shows since then.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of fun. And we started the Conjuring series because she loves The Conjuring.
Oh, same.
So I was like, sick. So now I'm totally on board with that, which is awesome.
I love the whole series, even though it does get repetitive. Like, again, but there's also like 15 movies in it now.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And it's by the same, like, I was going to say author. That's not right. Director.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're all going to be similar. Mm-hmm. But I do like how they all kind of tie into each other.
Yeah.
And so you're able to kind of put the puzzle pieces together.
You kind of follow the storyline.
Yeah.
Like, to me, they're basically just like a longer episode of like Criminal Minds mixed with Supernatural.
Are you watching it in order of release or order of story?
I've seen 1 and 2.
Okay, so you're watching. Okay, so order of release then. If you might, now there's so many movies out, you might take interest in watching it in order, like the story.
Yeah. Like
what came first and whatnot. And so you'd start with like The Nun and stuff and The Curse of La Llorona, and then it'd end up into like Annabelle and then Conjuring and then XYZ, however the proper order of it is. Yeah. But if you want to see like the picture, the story in whole, watch it in that way. Okay. Otherwise, order of release dates too. Like it's kind of fun if you want to tie back. Yeah. Like depends if you want to learn with the characters or if you want to keep tying back.
Yeah. So I had thought when we started number 1, that like that was the first one. I didn't realize that like they already had the Annabelle doll and they already did this and they already did that. So yeah. But it was also like we're gonna start with number 1 because that's just the easiest one to start with.
Well, that's what got you into it, and that's how they released it.
Yeah.
Was 1, 2, whatever, and then and they built off the story from that. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was super good, super fun. And then we watched half of Saw, which I feel like we didn't really get to like the gory part of Saw. Like nothing had really happened. Yeah. So I kind of want to finish that. And then we watched a really terrible one about the Butterbox babies in Nova Scotia. And then Evil Dead Rise Again, the new one that came out this year. Terrible. Not worth your time. Yeah. The one that we watched a long time ago was much, much scarier. Yeah. And because you couldn't see the entity in this one. Yeah. So it wasn't scary. Yeah. But when I could see that black cloud just like floating around, or like the demon or whatever that possessed, like the Evil Dead that I watched so long ago, like I still cannot stand over a shower drain because of that show. Like
that's like I can't drive behind a log truck because of
Final Destination. Yeah. So it's like none of those movies have altered the way that I live my life right now. Yeah. So I'm like, they're really not that scary.
I also won't go in a tanning bed because of Final Destination.
I would get a little bit claustrophobic if I was in a tanning bed, I feel like.
Well, and then that's what happened is they went in a tanning bed and they got locked in and then they got seared to death in the tanning bed.
Yeah, no thank you.
And so the claustrophobia mixed with that, like not being able to turn my brain off, there's no way.
Well, I freak out, like if I get a lash lift and tint done, I can't have my eyes closed for the 45 minutes that it takes. Yeah. Because I freak out. Yeah. So I stopped doing it. I was like, you know what? Like just buy an eyelash curler.
I don't need this anymore.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. That's fun.
Okay, so in the spirit of spooky and Halloween. Yeah. I have researched the history of Halloween because I wanted to tell Mac all about it. I did the history of Halloween, and then I have some like history of like certain Halloween traditions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also researched the history of Friday the 13th.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
Okay. And then to follow that up, I have some Canadian ghost stories.
Yeah.
So,
which is so awesome because I went to like the Telescience Spark Center or whatever.
Yeah.
Was doing like a Halloween themed like fear night or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they had like someone telling ghost stories and then like what it takes to haunt or to hunt a ghost.
Okay.
There was people who tried to talk about how your brain reacts to fear. There was like someone who gave a speak on fears and phobias.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who spoke about like debunking ghosts.
Fun.
Which was really cool. That one was very interesting.
Yeah.
There was like a fear factor kind of game show that we didn't go into because there might have been snakes and spiders. And I was like, yes, I know I'm at a fear thing, but I'm not about to actually be confronted with any of my fears. And there was just like a bunch of other cool things like that. So it put me in the spooky Halloween.
And then I was gonna do something Halloweeny, and then Journey was like, do ghost stories. And I was like, sold.
Yeah, because it feels it's such a good idea.
So
let's pat myself on the back. Why don't I?
Well, because I had something, I was like, either like funny stories, or I just had no idea. And then she was like, yeah, go for it. So here we are.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Da, 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 da. Okay, so Halloween has its roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain.
Okay.
Which is spelled Samhain. Which I hate that it's spelled Samhain but pronounced Samhain.
Is that because it's like Gaelic?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know. It's just like I didn't realize because I listened to a podcast on the history of Halloween and then I was reading about the history of Halloween and I didn't realize they were talking about the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so it's a pagan religion celebration to welcome harvest, and people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. Mm-hmm. So it marked the transition between transition to the new year from the end of harvest.
Okay.
Kind of thing. But other sources said that like it marked the end of harvest and the beginning of winter, not the new year.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So there's a little bit of discrepancy between that.
Because it makes sense because their time of year is comparable to ours in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And so Celtic people believed that spirits walked the earth during this festival. And so 2,000 years ago in Celtic Ireland, Samhain marked the end of the Celtic year and the start of the new year. Like I already said, it's kind of disputed. The Celts believed that the day began at sunset, so the festivities started the night before and carried on.
Okay.
So like at 6 p.m. tonight would be like the start of tomorrow in how they believed.
Okay.
So there's 4 Celtic festivals, and this was the most important of them all. It's kind of the biggest, most exciting for them.
Yeah.
It's not only practiced in Ireland, it's practiced everywhere Celtic individuals lived, which I just needed to research for myself. Then there are some Neolithic passage tombs in Ireland that are aligned with the sunrise at the time of Samhain.
Okay.
Which tells you that it's been practiced long before Celtic people actually arrived in Ireland.
Huh.
Because they arrived in Ireland 2,000 years ago, and these tombs are dated to between 4,500 and 5,000 years ago. Which is crazy.
So who celebrated? Was there a native species there, or was it like...
There must have been.
I was like, whoever celebrated died off or whatever.
Not everyone in Ireland is Celtic.
Yeah.
Is the thing. So there could have been people who like are just native Irish people.
Okay.
That live there. I don't know. They didn't really tell me.
Yeah.
And I didn't look too much into it. But it's cool that they have these like tombs that show that they were kind of practicing Samhain at this time. But weren't. Or who knows.
Yeah.
So they believe that the veil between this world and the other world is at its thinnest, which allows spirits to pass through. So the family ancestors were honored and invited home while they warded off evil spirits. So people wore costumes to disguise themselves as evil spirits so that they would avoid any harm. So that's where the whole like dressing up on Halloween comes as.
Okay.
Especially with like all the ghouls and stuff because you're dressing up as other spirits.
Yeah.
This is a little bit disputed, but the bones of slaughtered livestock were put into a communal fire. Household fires were extinguished and then started again from like the coals of the communal fire. Because they were thought to have like protective and cleansing powers.
Okay.
And I've heard somewhere that it was in a book I was reading actually. Throne of Glass. They mention Samhain as well. She spells it a little bit differently, but they mention the fires and like the covering of the ash from the fire is supposed to have like cleansing properties and kind of start anew or mark the first snowfall or something.
So it's like spring cleaning, but make it spooky.
Yeah,
okay.
pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah, but use the bones of slaughtered animals.
Yeah. Well, spring cleaning, wasn't there like spreading blood or something above your doorway and stuff too?
If there was, I do not remember. That sounds terrible.
I thought that was Easter. Was that not an Easter thing?
I have no idea.
Where you spread the blood of a lamb or something above your doorway and as a something or other?
I've never heard that before.
As someone who was only religious from the ages of like 5 to 9, maybe.
I've heard of like Ash Wednesday where they like mark your forehead with ash or whatever. But I've never heard. I'm very intrigued about that. You Google that. Okay. They prepared food for the living and the dead, and any food that wasn't eaten was shared with the poor, which I really like. So that was also kind of where trick-or-treating comes into play a little bit. And so this food was to appease the spirits and to help ensure that the people and the livestock survived the winter. Each tradition of Samhain is kind of based on a legend, but I'm not going to go into all of them because they are, like, there's so many different layers and possible legends of it, where they're like, oh, it could be this, but it also could be this. But if you look in this book, it's this. So I was just kind of like, I'll skip that. And then I didn't know this, and this was very interesting. So in the 8th century, Pope Gregory III appointed November 1st as All Saints' Day, and they started to incorporate some Samhain traditions into it. So the evening before All Saints' Day became known as All Hallows' Eve, which later changed to Halloween. And so All Saints' Day is a Christian holiday that honors saintly people of the past. It's followed by All Souls' Day on November 2nd, which is a day to pray for all the souls. And this day is also known as Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, which I didn't know. I didn't think that Day of the Dead was in November.
Okay, so yeah, I know, I knew that.
Okay.
And that's why I was hoping that you were going to touch on the Day of the Dead traditions and stuff too.
Yeah, I don't go into the Day of the Dead traditions.
Yeah.
But I was so shocked that like Halloween and Christian and Day of the Dead, or Christianity, like they're all intermingled, but they're so like that's 3 separate religions.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that this time of year.
You got to look into it though, right? Because it's like,
yeah.
Again, I think that like history can be quacky, but I think there's also if there's the same thing in different cultures and religions, there has to be a factor of truth to it.
There's something in it, yeah.
Because why else is everyone having a consensus on this?
Right?
So
yeah, no, it was just I'd never even heard that, but even like to this day, November 1st is All Saints' Day. November 2nd is Dia de los Muertos. Crazy.
Okay. I have it here.
What'd you learn?
It's so they did this because of Passover, which happens April 5th to April 13th.
Okay.
And so the Lord promised that if the Israelites followed his instructions, the plague would pass over them and not hurt them. The Lord told each Israelite family to sacrifice a perfect male lamb and paint the blood of the lamb on the doorframe of their houses. The Lord told Israelites to cook and quickly eat the lamb. So it's in April, and that's why I'm thinking it has something to do with spring cleaning.
But it's also around the time of Easter. Like usually Easter is like the first or second weekend in April.
Yeah. And then so the Passover is basically like when God sent an angel of death to kill the firstborn sons of Egyptians. God told Moses to order Israelite families to sacrifice a lamb and yada, 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 so that the angel would know to pass over their houses.
Interesting. Okay.
But that's why I was like, I thought it was something part of spring cleaning. I did not think it was that. But April in my mind was like, it's spring cleaning. So,
it's a version of spring cleansing.
So that's why you would smear the blood of a male lamb above your doorframe in spring cleaning times.
I guess. I will not be doing that.
It's a form of spring cleaning I do not want to take part in. I'm not really interested in.
I wouldn't, like, if I have a firstborn son, I wouldn't mind the angel of death not taking it.
That's okay. I'm not trying to promote the genocide of firstborn male sons.
Yeah, of Egyptian kids and Israelites. Yeah, no thank you. Especially with all that's been going on in the world between Israel and Palestine. But like, that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much the history of Halloween.
Yeah.
It's just that it's rooted in Samhain. So the carving jack-o'-lanterns originated in Ireland, but they used turnips instead of pumpkins.
Fun.
So they carved turnips instead.
That's so cute.
Right? And it was based on a legend about a man who was named Stingy Jack. It's either stingy or stingy, but I'm going to say stingy. Jack would catch the devil and then release him if he promised that Jack would never go to hell. However, when Jack died, he learned that he wasn't welcome in heaven either, so he wandered the earth as a ghost for all eternity.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the devil gave Jack a burning lump of coal in a carved out turnip to use as a lantern.
Mm.
So that's why they're like jack-o'-lanterns, because it was Jack walking around with a lantern.
Okay.
And so then the locals started carving scary faces into turnips to scare away evil spirits.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting. I also think it's literally what's that nursery rhyme of like, little bunny foo-foo hopping through the forest, catching all the field mice and bopping them on the head. Yeah, Jack was doing that with the devil. And the devil was like the fairy godmother that came down and was like,
don't do that.
Yeah.
I can't remember how the rest of it goes.
That's literally as far as I get. I don't want to see
Then the
you.
good fairy came down and said, little bunny foo-foo.
I don't like to see you picking up the field mice, bopping them on the head.
Yeah.
And then
I give you
3 chances.
Something like that, yeah.
Comment
if you know that.
Yeah.
You unlocked a memory there.
I just put that together. That's funny.
Yeah.
And so, like I already said, wearing scary costumes is just people put on disguises so that they would not be mistaken for spirits by all the evil spirits walking around during Samhain.
Yeah.
And then trick-or-treating. So there's 3 theories around the origins of trick-or-treating.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is that during Samhain, Celtic people would leave out food to appease the spirits traveling the earth at night. And then over time, people would dress as the spirits in exchange for similar offerings of food and drink.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
The second one speculates that the candy boon stems from the Scottish practice of guising, which just means wearing a disguise.
Okay.
During the Middle Ages, the children and poor adults would collect food and money from local homes in return for prayers for the dead on All Souls Day.
Mm.
So geisers dropped the prayers in favor of non-religious practices with the inclusion of songs, jokes, and other quote-unquote tricks.
Okay.
So it was like
trick or treat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, guising just means kids go door to door in a disguise.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And the third one is that it stems from bell-snickling. Which is...
Love that word.
Right? Which is a German-American Christmas tradition.
Okay.
German-American. That doesn't feel right. But it's where children dressed in costume and then called their neighbors to see if the adults could guess the identities of the disguised. In one version of the practice, children were rewarded with food or other treats if no one could identify them.
Mm.
So it's basically prank calling.
Okay.
And being like, do you know who this is?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's Susie. And they're like, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I
right?
would hate that.
Yeah.
I would hate to be part of that. Some kid called me, I'd be like, I don't care.
Yeah, right? Like, it would make sense if it was like someone in your neighborhood or like your kids or your grandkids or your niece and nephew, but like just random ass kids being like, hey, do you know who this is?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't know who this is. Oh, you owe me a candy bar. Absolutely not how that works.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess that's really no different than people like strangers walking up to your door and being like, trick or treat.
But at least it's like, I don't know, in person.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, weird.
Yeah.
So then I was like, why are the colors black and orange? Like, why is that how we see Halloween? So black represented the death of the summer, while the orange symbolized the autumn harvest season.
Okay.
So it's that
Makes
simple.
Sense.
Bats are also a common theme in Halloween. So the Celts would light huge bonfires, which would attract bats.
Mm.
So then spotting bats became connected with the festival, and then medieval folklore expanded on the eeriness of bats with a number of like superstitions around the belief that bats were harbingers of death.
Mm. I love bats.
They're okay. Like, the only time I've ever come in contact with a bat was when I was working at the gas plant, and I was in the filing thing, and I lifted up a box, and there was a dead bat in there, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
That's fair.
But yeah.
I don't know. I love bats. When I see them in the summer, too, and stuff, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Besties. Yeah, kill those mosquitoes.
Right? Eat all the bugs, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I have nothing against them.
Mm-hmm.
And so then bobbing for apples. This one's fun.
Oh, that one, my mom would never let me participate.
Oh, really?
If there was bobbing for apples at any party, any school event, she's like, that's disgusting. It's a cesspool of saliva. Like, do not do it.
Yeah, it's really no better than a swimming pool, which is just a cesspool.
But it's not chlorine.
I guess.
There's no nothing chlorinated or nothing cleansing. It's just,
you
hope that the 30 people that stuck their head in the same water bin.
Yeah.
aren't filthy.
I think I've only ever done it once, and it was in a bin that was shallow enough that I could just press the apple against the bottom and bite it.
Okay.
So I was good at it.
Yeah, no, I've had it where it's like those like
5-gallon pails.
The classic bins that you'd get from the dollar store and stuff. They're different colors with the rope handles.
Oh, okay.
It's like one of those bins that it was always in.
Yeah, no, that was... So I was like, this is really stupid easy. But if you put it in a deeper bin, then it would be very difficult.
Yeah.
So this does not have roots in Samhain, but instead love and romance.
Why?
It's a courting ritual that was part of a Roman festival to honor Pomona, who is the goddess of agriculture and abundance. And so there are multiple versions of the general, but like the general, oh geez Louise, there are multiple versions, but the general consensus is that young men and women would be able to predict their future relationships based on the game. And so this festival took place at roughly the same time as Samhain, so that's how they kind of got like intermingled.
Yeah.
But did they ever... I don't know if they ever told me like I think if you caught an apple, that meant that you were going to like get married by this time next year kind of thing.
Huh.
So that took me down a rabbit hole of matchmaking and Halloween. So that was actually like matchmaking was a huge thing around Samhain for some reason.
Hey, Love is Blind, take notes.
Yeah, literally. Halloween season. So in 18th century Ireland, a matchmaking cook would bury a ring in her mashed potatoes on Halloween night with the hope that whoever finds it will find true love.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah. So I love that. Actually, I just love mashed potatoes.
Also, did they choose apples because there was many apples, or did they choose apples because like Adam and Eve apple?
There's some sort of like apples are, I think, like a symbol of fertility.
Pomegranates are.
Yes.
But apples
there's some sort of symbolism between apples.
Because of the biblical reference of it being like a sexual thing?
No, because the apple wasn't sexual in the Bible.
But it was the temptation though.
Yes, but it was kind like, to me, that's like the root of all sin is apple.
Exactly. That's why I'm confused.
So I feel like, I don't know, there's some sort of symbolism. They didn't tell me. There was not a lot on that.
Okay.
In Scotland, eligible young women would name a hazelnut after their suitors and then throw it in the fire. The hazelnuts that would burn to ash represented the girl's future husband instead of the ones who popped or exploded. But in other versions, the one that exploded was your future husband and the one that burned to ash wasn't.
Huh. Okay.
So.
Seems like a flawed technique, but go off.
But also, like, how many suitors do you have that you can, like, chuck a handful of hazelnuts into the fire and be like, ooh, Timmy.
Anyone that's your age within your range.
I guess. I know, that's kind of like the Daisy, like, does he love me? Like,
yeah.
Maybe I'll do that this Christmas. I'll throw a hazelnut in and be like, are we meant to be?
It's been 7 years.
Well, yeah.
Time to go back to Gaelic traditions.
I just have to like, because it's a win-win, because if it melts to ash, then it's like, oh, we're meant to be. And if it explodes, it's, oh, we're meant to be. Because depending on the person, that's what they believed.
That's like, let's burn this woman. And if she dies, she's not a witch. And if she lives, she's a witch.
Yeah. Stupid. Okay, the other one is if a young woman ate a sugary concoction made out of walnuts, hazelnuts, and nutmeg, before going to sleep on Halloween night, she would dream about her future husband.
I wonder if that's because nutmeg has hallucinogenic effects.
That makes sense. I didn't know that. That explains that one. Young women would throw apple peels over their shoulders in the hope that they would fall in the shape of their future husband's initials.
Okay.
A bit of a stretch.
Yeah. Okay. That's like looking at clouds. Okay.
Or looking at egg yolks. They would try to learn about their future husbands by looking at egg yolks floating in a bowl of water and standing in front of mirrors in darkened rooms holding candles and looking over their shoulders for their husbands' faces.
That would not be comforting.
No.
If you saw a face,
I would shit my pants.
That's not like, oh my god, I'm in love. That's like, who are you and why are you standing behind me?
Yeah, why is my husband a ghost? Like, that's some incubus, succubus kind of bullshit. Yeah. So then... I'm really bothered by why they didn't. I thought I had something about the apples, but I guess I didn't. So I'll maybe find something and then we can post it.
Yeah.
So now, history of Friday the 13th.
Okay.
super anticlimactic. Basically, the number 13 is unlucky, and early Christians believed that Fridays were also unlucky.
Okay.
13 guests attended the Last Supper, which was held on a Thursday, so the next day when Jesus was crucified was a Friday.
Okay.
So a lot of people associate having 13 people at a table as a bad omen. People also think that Eve gave Adam the apple on a Friday. There's no way they could possibly know that.
Probably just a stretch.
Yeah. It's also thought that Friday was the day that Cain killed Abel in the Bible.
Okay.
Again, how do you know that? There's no way.
Yeah.
And then on October 13th, 1307, which was a Friday, hundreds of the Knights Templar were arrested and then executed. That is a big reason why Friday the 13th was a thing.
Yeah.
But there's so much to that story that isn't known, or like
there's a bunch of unfortunate things happen on Fridays.
Yeah.
And 13 is not a good thing. Okay.
Yeah, and then they gave like a little list of like bad things that have happened on Friday the 13th that have like added to the stigma. Which I'll find because some of them are actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
A big thank you to Persona Nutrition for working with Sometimes Ciabatta Slaps. Persona Nutrition ships customized vitamins and supplements to you each month. All you need to do is take their short quiz on their website and they will build you the perfect pack of vitamins. With subscription, you also have access to nutritionists online, so if you have any health concerns or questions, you will be directed with a nutritionist in no time. The vitamin packs come with the cutest little wrapper with your name on it and a list of supplements inside. If you want more information, there is a blog on their website with tons of additional information. Right now, get 50% off your first month subscription with the link on our website. If you want to get into supplements and vitamins and all that good stuff, head on over to sometimesciabattaslaps.com for more information. Oh, there was a German bombing of Buckingham Palace. There was a murder of Kitty Genovese in 1964. A cyclone killed more than 300,000 people in Bangladesh in 1970. The disappearance of a Chilean Air Force plane in the Andes in 1972. The death of Tupac in 1996. And a crash of the Costa Concordia cruise ship off the coast of Italy in 2012.
Okay.
So those are some
days.
Some things that have all happened on February or Friday the 13th. Jeez Louise. But there was also a book written in 1907 titled Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
That was about a New York City stockbroker who played on the superstitions around the date to create chaos on Wall Street so that he could make more money.
Okay.
So that book was a big reason why Friday the 13th was a thing.
Yeah.
But nothing told me like what happened before that book that kind of made it. And then like Friday the 13th movies kind of took off.
Yeah.
After 1980 when
producers just went with that.
Yeah, but there was no set like this is why. They were just kind of like both things are kind of felt unlucky, so then we've created a whole superstition around it.
Cool.
Kind of thing.
Fun.
But yeah. That's the history of Halloween.
Fun. More fun than I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Right? It was very interesting. I was
like, cool. History, I was like, okay, as long as it's not wah-wah, but that's good.
Yeah, no, there's like a lot of it, like you could get very wah-wah if you like actually went into the legends of it.
Yeah.
But we don't need to do that.
No, need for that. Fun. Yeah. Now into ghost stories.
Yay.
So I focused on Canadian ghost stories because if you don't know us that well, we are Canadian. And so I'm starting off. I took some from your list, and then I took some of just my own research.
Okay, sick.
And whatnot. So I'm going to start in Banff at the Banff Springs Hotel, Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. And there are a few hauntings at this location. Yeah,
they say it's so haunted.
Yeah. Well, it's very old and it's in the mountains and no doubt. So the most notorious one at the Banff Springs is the Bride. And so she dates back to the late 1920s or early 1930s. She was supposedly a bride getting ready for her wedding day at the hotel. She went to descend down the marble stairs and she got spooked somehow and fell down the stairs. Some say that her shoe got caught in her dress, causing her to slip. Others say she got brushed by a candle and she actually was lit on fire and then she fell. It's very 50-50 when you go to look up what the story even happened there.
Yeah.
And so since then, the hotel staff and guests report seeing a woman in a white dress wandering the hotel.
Yeah.
Some claim to have seen her walking down the stairs, others through the hallways. Some say they see her in like the ballroom dancing or awaiting the dance with her husband.
Yeah.
Or her to-be husband. And then some hotel staff have claimed to have heard crying coming from the bridal suite at the hotel.
Oh, spooky.
But they go in and no one's there.
Right.
So, naturally.
Yep.
Another ghost of the Banff Springs is Sam the bellman. And so Sam Macaulay was an elderly Scotsman who served as a lead bellman at the Banff Springs throughout the mid-20th century, specifically around the 60s, 70s, from what I could tell.
Well, that's fairly recent.
Mm-hmm. Yep. His spirit is now reported to be a helpful spirit to guests and staff alike.
Oh, because he was just a helpful bellman.
Mm-hmm. He was just a happy Scottish dude.
I like that.
So one of his most popular stories involves two women who went to the front desk because their keys wouldn't work. After waiting 15 minutes with no assistance from any of the bellhops, the woman went back to their room to try again. When they were waiting outside their room trying to figure out what to do next, a bellhop, matching Sam's description, approached the woman, unlocked their door, and then disappeared.
Wild.
Yeah. Some say the woman went to like get a tip to tip him, and then he was gone by that point.
Mm-hmm.
Others say he just did it and then
just left.
Poofed away.
Wild.
Yeah. So others have seen Sam's haunting his old office on the mezzanine area, which is now a guest bedroom. So if you're in his old office room, you might see Sam hanging out.
I don't like that.
And others have reported to see apparitions or feeling cold spots on the 6th, 7th, and 9th floor of the hotel. I don't know why he chooses those three numbers, but apparently there's a lot of actions that have been claimed to be Sam.
Well, 7's an unlucky number in... Is it Chinese culture? Or is number 4 unlucky in Chinese culture?
Can't remember.
But 7's thought of as an unlucky number.
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain 6 or 9.
Yeah, exactly. So if you feel a cold spot or if you see an apparition of a Scottish dude,
yeah,
it might be Sam.
That's cool.
And then there's room 873. And so this one is the least talked about thing for Banff Springs.
Oh, okay.
But it's arguably the most interesting for me.
Okay.
So this room is no longer in use, right?
Because of the hauntings?
Yeah.
Yikes.
So there's a legend that several people have met their demise in this room. One of the most notorious one was a familial murder-suicide where a mother and daughter kind of never left the room due to the murder-suicide. So I don't know if it was the mother killing the daughter or if it was the husband killing the mother and daughter and then himself.
Wild.
But basically his family was slaughtered in this room.
Yikes.
And so guests who had stayed in the room reported hearing loud shriek-like cries in the middle of the night. And then housekeeping staff reported that bloody fingerprints would appear on the mirrors but not go away when cleaned.
Ooh, yuck.
And so due to enough disturbances from this room, they decided to seal it up. So the room still exists in the hotel. Right. But there's no access to the room. But when you look at photos, if you go up to room 873 or where 873 is supposed to be, you're going to see a light above where the door is supposed to be. And if you knock, it's hollow.
Ooh. But so they just plastered over the door.
Yeah.
Wild. Okay.
But I wonder if there's still views from like windows from the outside. I imagine
there's gotta be, yeah.
Right? But yeah, the door itself is sealed off, plastered up, and it looks like the hallway. And so if you're not aware of it, you wouldn't notice. But when you look at all the bedrooms in the hotel, there's lights above each door. And so you can actually walk on the 8th floor and see 71 and 5. And then see a light, but no door to 73.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So there could be some malicious spirit haunting the 8th floor in the hotel.
Well, the fact that they closed up that room because of the hauntings, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Do they have a room 666?
I'm sure.
Do you think, or would they skip over it?
I don't know.
I've been seeing 666 a lot recently.
Oh no.
Not into it.
Day of the Dead.
Yeah, not into it.
Okay, so that's the key stories from Banff Springs. But again, there's lots of weird disturbances that happen because it is such an old hotel. But it's gorgeous and I adore the hotel.
Yeah, the guy that told us all about, because he basically went through all the Fairmonts in Canada. He was like, basically, if you're staying in a Fairmont, it's haunted.
Well, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, facts.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is the Hotel McDonald, which I also believe is a Fairmont as well. And so geographically, this hotel is almost in the dead center of Edmonton. Kind of fun.
Oh, I didn't know it was in Edmonton. I thought it was in Regina for some reason.
No, this one's Edmonton.
Ugh.
And it's almost the dead center of it, which is kind of funny.
That is cool.
So one of the most known stories from the Hotel McDonald come from the 8th floor of the hotel, where guests will report hearing the sound of horses' hooves pounding through the hallways.
Crazy.
And so this comes from when the hotel was being built in 1914. And so during the pouring of the foundation, one of the workhorses dropped dead from exhaustion.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if it got poured into the foundation and that's why it's haunted. But either way, the day of the foundation pour, a horse dropped dead. And this is the horse is claimed to be the one that's running across the 8th floor. And that's why you hear horses' hooves.
Wild.
So now this horse gallops through the 8th floor and sometimes the basement, but is always heard but never seen. So you could just be walking and then hearing like something charging at you.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah. Especially because if it's a horse, like, it's very obvious sound.
Yeah, no, it's very distinctive.
Yeah. Also at the Hotel McDonald, there have been reports of seeing a ghost man sitting in a wing chair smoking a pipe.
Oh.
So it's rumored that this man is the spirit of a sailor that would have passed the hotel during his trips along the Saskatchewan River.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, like a sailor. We're a landlocked province.
Well, the river's right there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So. And then some of the night managers at the hotel report receiving calls from rooms on the 6th floor where they would go up to check on the guests. They find that the room is vacant. When they return to the desk, they get a call from that room again.
Oh, wild.
Mm-hmm.
Spooky. I hate that.
Yeah. Now we're moving into Vancouver.
Yay.
With Hotel Vancouver. So Hotel Vancouver first opened in 1939, and it was actually the 3rd hotel to be opened in Vancouver.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
Uh-huh. And so Hotel Vancouver is home to the Lady in Red, who is rumored to be seen wandering the halls on the 14th floor and on the ground floor lobby by the elevator doors.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of her most notorious stories comes from there was a Japanese family who checked into a room on the 14th floor and then called down to the front desk to check if they double booked them, because when they walked into the room, they saw a lady in red sitting on the bed.
Oh, yuck. No.
And then so when they called, she just disappeared, and they assured that it wasn't double booked.
Yeah.
So there's another report of a bellman escorting a guest to their room in room 1403.
Mm-hmm.
When he noticed the lady in red followed the guests into their room, but by the time the bellman had caught up to bring their bags into their room, she had vanished.
Oh.
So it was like the family all walked into the room. She followed them in. Mm-hmm. Only the bellman saw because he was like down the hallway a little bit.
Yeah.
But when he turned the corner, she was gone.
Wild.
She's also been reported to walk through closed doors, turning on and off lights, closing some closet doors, and sitting on beds, as we saw with the Japanese family.
Crazy. And
so some say that the lady in red, her real name is Jenny Pearl Cox, and she was a Vancouver socialite who would regularly attend the hotel's ballroom dances with her husband.
Okay.
She died in a car crash in 1944 and supposedly took residence in the hotel. I'm not sure if the car crash was like near the hotel enough that's why her spirit jumped there, or if it just felt like home to her. Yeah, that was a mystery. It did give me a street name, and I forgot to look it up. So
fair enough.
I don't know.
Okay.
And then so a local elevator mechanic claims to have taken her picture while working on a building across the street.
Oh, do you have it?
Uh-huh. Ugh. I have the article saved just so I can show you.
Oh my goodness.
Because it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you scroll down, you'll see, and it was posted in the Vancouver Sun, so it was like apparently it was a big thing for Van.
Okay.
But if you scroll down, it like kind of zooms into the
Yo.
And so I don't know if that's the 14th floor, if that's like the top floor.
Yeah.
Or if it's like unfortunate that someone just hung up a red t-shirt to dry by the window, but it's
crazy that even from that photo he was able to notice.
Yeah. So we'll pop it up on the screen. We'll pop in like a zoomed in photo on the screen or something. Or we can
push
zoomed
buttons because I couldn't zoom out.
What the heck?
I just zoomed out and then it did that.
Okay. Sounds good. But yeah.
That's crazy.
There's that. And it was enough to get some clout to end up in the newspaper.
Yeah, no doubt. That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's pretty much Lady in Red. That's all we know from her. I guess she has a few sightings here and there, but nothing malicious from her.
That's good.
The Mackenzie River Ghost. I incorporated this one because it's one of the oldest Canadian ghost stories.
Oh.
And it dates back to the 1850s.
Wild. Mm-hmm. Where's the Mackenzie River?
It's in Ontario.
Okay.
Let me check this out. Oh, in the Northwest Territories.
Okay.
So it's higher up there. Yeah, so anyways, the story goes that Augustus Richard Piers was a fur trader and a Hudson's Bay post manager at Fort McPherson in the Northwest Territories when he died suddenly at the age of 33. A man named Roderick McFarlane transported his body by dog sled hundreds of kilometers to Fort Simpson, Northwest Territories.
Okay.
And so during this transportation, McFarlane claims to have heard Marche coming from the coffin.
Ooh.
So it's as if Piers was yelling, go, like walk at the dogs.
Oh, wild.
From the coffin.
Yuck.
So.
Okay, that's spooky.
It's a short story, but yeah, it's like imagine transporting my dog sled during that time. Like you're the only one doing it.
Well, it reminds me of that joke of the taxi driver who used to be like a hearse driver.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, someone like taps him on the shoulder and he screams and crashes. And he's like, sorry, I used to transport bodies. Like, I'm not used to having people alive.
Yeah.
That'd be terrifying.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to throw that one in there because it's one of the oldest ones that date back.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun. And then this final one, I have a lot for this one.
Okay.
So it has a special place in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one is the Manitoba Legislative Building.
Oh, yay. Okay. Okay, I'm excited.
You're going to hear more once I can finally drag Jubes to Winnipeg to take a tour of the Legislative Building because it's so fascinating.
Mm-hmm. If you're an avid hiker like me, you're going to love Fire Maple. Their products are crafted to be the most reliable and high-performance gear possible so you can explore the world with ease and energy. Their philosophy is that outdoor cooking should be just as straightforward and satisfying as indoor cooking. That's why their camping cookware is thoughtfully crafted to ensure that you can enjoy your meals no matter where your adventure takes you. Right now, you can get $99 off shipping if you live in Canada and $5 off when you sign up on their website. Head over to sometimesciabattaslaps.com where you can find links to their website so you can start your holiday shopping and maybe grab a couple things for you.
So the Manitoba Legislative Building is already known for its occult-like features, with the main square of the building measuring 66.6 feet long on all sides.
Right.
So it's a perfect square of 666.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I guess it's better than a triangle though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so this could be a reference to the power of the sun, or it's a reference to occult activity, as the building is claimed to be built by the secret nation of the stonemasons.
Right.
And so directly placed below the Golden Boy, who lives on top of the building, it's like a dome type ceiling, and inside there's also a dome ceiling that follows the outside. And so in this dome ceiling room, there's an 8-pointed star on the ground. And these features may not necessarily be creepy on their own, but the room is designed like a sacrificial chamber with the star mimicking the victim.
No! Why?
Gotta love early elitists, hey?
Oh, God, that's... no, thank you.
And so there are symbols of good and evil that are placed throughout the building, such as Medusa's heads and then bison figures.
Okay.
So Medusa's head, of course, like turning to stone and all that whole mythology. And then the bisons are supposed to be protectors of the building.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so there are rumors that female ghosts will wander the hall of the building. And according to the tale of the blood tube, there's a secret room in the building where a woman was murdered. She was then later found dead, holding a tube of her own blood, or a tube of blood, assumed to be her own blood. And so one of these female ghosts is apparently this woman, and she is rumored to still be holding that blood tube if you see her.
Oh my gosh. Like, when you say blood tube, do you mean like vial?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Or just like a tube thing like of blood. She was like holding it.
Wild.
So it's very sacrificial. And
very much so.
And so if there's multiple women ghosts that are seen, this could have happened multiple times.
Yeah.
In this secret culty room of the legislative building by the elitists of so-and-so way back then.
That's bonkers. Okay.
So there are also rumors of a ghost man who wanders around the southeast second floor hallways wearing a long black suit and a top hat. Okay. He also wanders the main staircase of the building.
Right.
Which is where the Medusa heads above that main staircase when he's like laid out and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you walk into the building, you see security, and you walk through an archway, and then you're in the 666 room with the main staircase and the Medusa.
I hate the term 666 room. We need to go visit that.
It's fascinating.
That's so spooky.
Fascinating. And there's a tour guide, Frank Albo, who is like so knowledgeable. He is he basically was a history major in university, and he's actually one of my uncle's friends. That's how I knew about this tour in the first place.
Right.
And he basically got so fascinated by the legislative building that he put his entire thesis, like his master's, I think he is a PhD too, into the history of the building.
That's so cool.
So, and he's like had to join like faux stonemason societies just to get more information on what their methods are and stuff like that.
Oh, he's so dedicated.
He was so, you'd love to talk to him.
I love that.
But yeah, if you're in Winnipeg, look for the Frank Albo tour. He is phenomenal. There's also the ghosts of 3 men who have meetings in the rooms every night. And so apparently guards have been cautioned to knock on the rooms before entering so they're not disturbing a meeting.
That's insane. Wow.
Yeah. There was also a locked room for many, many years that no one could get access to.
Oh, okay.
In the building. They have now since got access to it.
Yeah.
But they just choose not to like
go
mingle with it too much.
That's probably very wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Something else you're going to hate.
Oh, good. Great.
There are stories of ghost boys wandering the basement of the building.
Okay.
And so a security guard reported seeing the reflection of 2 boys cupping their eyes cupping the sides of their eyes, to look through a frosted glass door.
Wow.
And so he just saw the figures of the boys doing this shape. But they couldn't see his face, obviously, because it's frosted glass. And so when the security guard went to go check the room, no one was there.
Wow. I think if I saw something like that, you would need to like institutionalize me. Like I would lose my mind.
I know.
That would be so scary. Okay.
Yeah. Also in the basement, there's that. I wonder if that's the same thing directly below the Golden Boy. They're talking about the sacrificial chamber is. Because in my mind there was another meeting room that was that. But there's also a perfect dome where if you stand in the middle, it creates like this like sound tunnel.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So you can't really hear what's going on around you unless someone like whispers into like the wall or something, and like the sound carries over. It's a weird phenomenon.
So cool,
but it's fascinating.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's all just like sacred geometry.
Yeah,
I was gonna say geometry. I'm
geometry?
Like, that's old people, is it not? Gerontology.
Geriatric.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
And then finally, there's Ralph McNeil Pearson, who is a deputy treasurer minister for 26 years in this building. And so on February 14th, 1947, he shot himself in the first floor bathroom, which was his designated bathroom.
Okay.
He is the only confirmed death in the building.
Oh.
No one knows why this happened. There are some speculation of like health problems, and that's why he led to kill himself, but it's also on Valentine's Day.
Oh.
So I was like,
a little bit of a love triangle situation there.
Who knows? And so it's not confirmed if he is a regular apparition, but his legacy just haunts the building.
Right.
For anyone who knows it.
So the other ghosts, like, do they just come from like the suspected nefarious activities in there, or is it built on like sacred ground?
Well, that's not impossible because Manitoba is so highly like native dense.
Yeah.
Right. It was a very strong native population, and then which then transitioned to a very strong Métis population. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of hoodoo voodoo that goes on in the legislative building, and then the fact that it was built by the Stonemason Society, and there's a whole bunch of like sacred geometry, like it has ties back to things like the Arc de Triomphe in France and pyramids, and the like all of those major architectural buildings have the same symbols as the legislative building, because the legislative building was supposed to be like Winnipeg was supposed to be such a big booming city for Canada because it was the center of Canada, and so it had such a high significance to it.
Right.
That they chose to build this building with the same kind of high significance measure, even though that's not what ended up happening for Manitoba.
Yeah.
But
Wild.
Now we have this like freaky culty,
yeah,
potentially culty, I guess, building.
Well, the stonemasons are. Mm-hmm. I think we should do an episode on them. They're weird.
Yeah. Where your legislation is literally created. So yeah.
Yeah.
Highly suggest going on a tour. It's so fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to do that. That would be so fun.
Yeah.
So cool. I want to go on a ghost walk. Like a ghost tour.
Yeah.
I think that'd be so cool.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. But that wraps up with what we have today.
Mm-hmm.
And for our segment, I don't know if anyone has seen the things on like TikTok where you have to rate something before knowing the next item.
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do with Halloween candies.
Yeah. So,
you have 5 candies for me, and I have 5 candies for you.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Sure, I can go first.
Okay.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready. Okay. The first candy I have for you is candy corn.
Ooh. I'm reading that as 5. I hate candy corn.
I've never had candy corn.
It just tastes like corn syrup and it's gross.
Oh, I had sweet corn ice cream recently.
Interesting.
It was actually pretty good. Sid's on a whole like sweet corn kick.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay. The second candy I have are the sour watermelon. Like the watermelon candy, like the fuzzy peaches.
I'm gonna give those a 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hershey's Kisses or Cookies and Cream Bar.
Number 1.
Yeah, top notch.
Hershey's C&C.
Yeah. Gobstoppers.
4.
Yeah, they're nasty. I just had one the other day. I was like, I don't understand what's enjoyable about this candy.
Yeah. What's my number 2?
Ooh. Fuzzy peaches?
Okay, that's a fair number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would put that as number 2 normally.
Yeah, it's so good. So what's your order?
Okay, so I got the Hershey's Cookies and Cream as number 1, then Fuzzy Peaches, then Sour Watermelon, then Gobstoppers, then Candy Corn.
Nice.
Which I feel like is a very true to Mac candy option.
Yep. Yeah, I would just switch. Like for mine, it would be basically the same, except the Hershey's Cookies and Cream would be 3 and the watermelons would be 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I like more chocolate.
Gobstoppers would be 5.
You like more candy than chocolate though, right?
Mm-hmm.
And see, I like chocolate more than candy.
Yeah.
All right.
What are my candy choices?
So what I've got pulled here for you is we're going to start with Sour Patch Kids.
I'm going to put those at like a 3 because I can't really imagine their taste at the moment.
Okay.
I also haven't had a lot of candy, so this could be interesting.
Yeah, no kidding. I chose pretty general ones that you would know.
Okay.
Nerds.
Ooh. A 2 because I'm saving number 1. I love nerds.
Okay.
I still have that nerd box from when we decorated gingerbread houses downstairs.
Oh, that's so funny.
Because I've been savoring it. I like have a handful.
You can buy them still.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why? Like, I've almost had these for a year. Just eat them.
Okay, then I got Kit Kat.
Ooh, if you had asked me this in 2016, it would be number 1. But I gotta put it at number 4.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's gotta be something better.
Okay. You know this is like best to worst, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Then I have Twix.
Oh, darn it.
You got 1 in 5 left.
Oh. I'm gonna put it as 5.
Okay. So that means your number 1 is Starburst.
Eh. Okay. It depends on the Starburst. But yeah, that's fair. I'll allow it.
Okay. So your order goes Starburst, Nerds, Sour Patch Kids, Kit Kat, Twix.
Yeah, I'd change that now that I know. Like, if I had to order them knowing which ones they are, I would change it. That's funny.
What would you put as your number 1?
Nerds.
Nerds? Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. I would do Nerds, Twix, Sour Patch Kids, Starburst, Kit Kat.
Yeah.
I think. Or Kit Kat Starburst. They could kind of duke it out for last.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's funny.
And so if you're listening to this today, go take a look at our Instagram story. I'm going to do a poll for what you guys would rate it for. So if you want to share your candy opinions.
Yeah. We'd love to hear them.
Head on over to our Instagram for that.
And go to patreon.com/sometimes to sign up for our Patreon. It's $2 a month, and you get all of our episodes ad-free. And once we get quite a few subscribers, we'll try and bring out more content and try and do some more exclusive stuff for our patrons.
Absolutely. In other news, I'm Mak Joy.
I'm Mak Jubes.
We are Sometimes About Slaps on all social media platforms. Our website, sometimesaboutlslaps.com, has our book club, our merch, our episode links, our something else. Affiliate links. Yeah. Everything you gotta know. We are Sometimes About Slaps on Instagram and TikTok if you want to follow us there. About all sorts of stuff, random stuff that gets posted as you do on social media.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween again. We hope you all are had a good weekend.
Yes.
And are staying safe or stayed safe.
Yeah.
If you didn't, I guess we'll see you haunting us tonight.
Yeah, I guess. Happy haunting.
And then happy almost November.
Yay. Happy All Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
And All Saints Day and Day of the Dead.
And tomorrow's going to be our announcement for November's book club. It is very different.
It's our first fiction.
Yes. So
Yay.
Keep an eye out for that announcement if you're interested in following book club.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
And on that note, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Ta-ta for now.
Bye.
Bye.